Okay, so my vlog for today, it's actually not very bright, you can't even see my face. Anyway, so my vlog for today, I'm gonna try and do this on my drive home. Today was, I believe, my thoughts and feelings on drugs and alcohol. I'm not sure how to approach that one. Again, I don't really have a problem with alcohol as long as you don't do it excessively. Like I said, I barely even drink. I drink like maybe, like I said, maybe a beer every 6 months, if you're lucky. Sometimes it's not even a beer a year. As I've mentioned before, my ex-husband was an alcoholic. Both of my parents were alcoholics. So I don't really have a problem with it, but when it becomes an excess, there's a problem. So alcohol is not really a big factor for me. You probably won't see very many, the drunken vlogs that everybody's doing now. For drugs, I do not have a problem whatsoever with anyone who smokes marijuana. The marijuana being legal now is kind of an interesting thing. It is legal in my state now. However, my county is trying to ban it. They're trying to ban the growth of it, the sale of it, everything. They're trying to shut down all the medical shops, and it's really hard for me to sit back and be quiet about that because people like my sister and a couple other people I know use it medicinally for pain, for recovery from chemotherapy, from dialysis, from one of my brothers uses it for his seizures, so having it at the point where they're trying to ban it in my county, I feel that it's a big mistake. There are so many benefits from it. I personally do not smoke it. It makes, I may smoke it every once in a while, but basically I drive for my job. I have to keep my job, so therefore I don't smoke it. And sativas make me paranoid as fuck, and indicas just mellow me out, whereas most people it's the other way around. I don't have a problem with marijuana. Now the other stuff, I know a lot of people have take one look at me and gone, oh, she must have had prior use somewhere of something really hard like meth or crack or something like that, and I've never done any of that. Because of my teeth, I've had that thrown in my face quite a few times. Do you use drugs? No, I don't. I've never used drugs, and I don't really have respect for people who do. And I don't consider marijuana a drug. Everybody else does. I don't consider it a drug. It is a medicinal thing, and it's not. I don't consider it a drug. But because of my size, because of my teeth, because of the fact that I have, outrageous amounts of acne, scars, and everything, I always get asked if I've ever done it. And I never have. Big bump. Sorry, the camera's on a harness attached to my window, so it's kind of if it's a little vibrated, that's why. It was a little bumpy. But I I don't really have any respect for anybody who does drugs because of the fact that I know what it does to a person. It will. I have seen it tear apart families. I have seen it tear apart just people in general. It will. It'll force you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And so, because I've known that, I've been exposed to that because there are a lot of druggies in my town. I have never had any inclination to try it. I have friends who have tried it. I have friends who have gotten hooked on meth. I have friends who have gotten hooked on cocaine. And I will not do it. I had friends who did it recreationally. They were still fully functioning people. But I refuse to try it. I refuse to even think about trying it. Are you gonna go? People at stop signs on highways. Anyway, yeah, and it's just it's not something I would ever think about doing. It's not something I would recommend anybody doing. It's not healthy. You never know what you're actually getting. I mean, these people make it in their freaking garages. Oh, sure, why not? We had some neighbors that, in one of my other videos, were playing in the ditch. Well, on the other side of the ditch, there were these neighbors that they were cooking in the abandoned house next door. And they blew the fucker up. They literally blew up the house next door. Not a house that they owned. It was an abandoned house. It was in disrepair and nobody was using it. So they thought, oh, smart idea. Nobody lives there. Let's go cook in it. And they blew it up. And so now somebody's out, their rental house that they were planning on fixing. And thankfully those people have moved. They don't live there anymore. But there for a while in our neighborhood, you could always tell when the new batch was ready because there were, they had coated whistles and they had lights. They had different colored lights for what they had and stuff like that. And there would be, random druggies walking down the street. And it always picks up around the first of the month. Just recently we had there's this couple that goes and they fight in that ditch. Like, they scream at each other. They're standing down there underneath the bridge and they're just screaming at each other. And usually that's when I'm telling my kids, no, you can't go play down there. We do let them go play down there by themselves, but only the older kids. And typically it's only maybe for 20 to 30 minutes and then they get bored and they come back. So it's not a dangerous area. My town is not really a dangerous town, but there are a lot of druggies and there is a lot of tweak. Tweak is a big thing in my town, and I cannot stand the tweakers. They drive me nuts. They steal anything that's not nailed down. Anything. Of course, they know not to mess with anything in our yard because they know that we're gun-toting Americans. So that keeps us reasonably safe. And then of course I have the dog, and my dog is a freaking dum-dum, but he's always outside, and that's an automatic thought, dog, don't mess with that dog, you're probably going to get bit. Even if he's the sweetest dog in the world and is, the most skittish creature alive, they know that there's a dog in that yard, they're not going to come mess with us. So living in our town, it's kind of it's an everyday struggle to try and stay away from the druggies, but really it's the ebb and flow of the town. It's a good little town, but it's just there are so many druggies. There are so many people in my town who are they're doing tweak, they're doing meth, they're doing coke, they're doing, you know, I guess crack and coke are the same thing. So, you know, they're doing all that. But, and you know, like I said, I have friends who have gotten hooked on it. I have friends that once they got hooked on it, I never talked to them again, because they get so deep into it and then they just disappear. They just drop off the radar, and I don't even know where they are now. And I've got a sister who was hooked on meth. She's my stepsister, and she used to call me when she was coming down, and she would just call me all out bawling, and I couldn't do it anymore. I finally told her, I said, I can't talk to you anymore. I can't. I said, I love you, sis, but I can't do it. And we just don't really. Like I said, I just don't really talk to her anymore. I have no respect for her. She literally, in the end, she chose the drugs over her family. But I don't know. So my thoughts on drugs and alcohol. Alcohol doesn't bother me. Marijuana doesn't bother me. But if you're gonna do the hard shit, just don't even be around me, because I'll be a bitch. I will. And I mean, honestly, I'm a bitch all the time, but that's gonna make me right there just lose all respect. So that's my thoughts on that. Jesus Christ, people need to learn how to drive. That's the other thing. Some of y'all need to go back to fucking school and learn how to drive again. Seriously. Like, people forget that they're behind the wheel of a 2,000-pound object, and they have to keep their fucking eyes on the road. That's why I haven't really been looking at the camera at all, because I am watching the road as I'm driving. You know, I can talk and have, the light on and be recording and everything, and have a full-on conversation, but I am looking at the damn road. I'm not swerving, I'm not talking on my phone, I'm not playing with, texting, I'm not, nothing, Sorry, my light is flickering because I apparently have a loose wire somewhere. But people in this town, they need to learn how to frickin' drive. I hate it. So, but anyway, instead of babbling on for another 10 minutes about absolutely nothing, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. As always, like, subscribe, share. All of my social media platforms are down in the comments, or down in the description, sorry. And hope you have a great night.